I wanted to talk about something that I don't think we talk about enough as creatives, and that is what we do when we get unexpected ideas. Now, as creative people, whether we're poets, writers, artists, whatever we do, we are always getting a flurry of ideas, and these ideas come at very unexpected times and in unexpected ways. I've had ideas at 2 a.m. in the morning, I've had ideas in the middle of meetings, I've had ideas as I'm about to head into the bathroom. I get ideas all the time, and there are a constant flurry of ideas. So what do you do when these ideas are always coming and your brain is never quite quiet? I write everything down. I write absolutely everything down. And this is where the power of pen and paper becomes absolutely important. And I think we don't give enough recognition to pen and paper. I think in this modern age, we're so used to laptops and fancy gadgets and putting everything down on our phones. And I think that what we need to focus on again is just scribbling everything down. And we don't have to have anything elaborate or fancy, just a little notepad is enough. But it's very important to get all our ideas down on pen and paper, because those ideas could last us a lifetime. A lot of the ideas I have now as an adult came to fruition when I was a child. A lot of these ideas I had in the heat of the moment when I was a child. I wrote everything down. I learned to write everything down. And these are ideas I'm still working on as an adult. And I have an entire vault of ideas. Although I still get ideas now, a lot of what I'm working on at the moment is from when I was a kid. All these ideas have never really gone away. And I think that when you get ideas for creativity, when you're in a very relaxed frame of mind, when you're relaxed and you're very at peace with yourself, you will get so many different ideas. It could be 101 ideas. I also find that I get ideas most first thing in the morning. I don't know why this is. I think that's because I've just woken up. My brain is just completely fresh. Nothing's interrupted my mood. There's no external noise. There's nothing from the outside world to interrupt me. So I've woken up, my brain is refreshed, and no unexpected outside interruption has come into my brain or infiltrated my thinking. And I've gotten some of the most powerful ideas in terms of social media, in terms of marketing, in terms of just polishing up some of my stories first thing in the morning. But what I've learned to do is write every single thing down. Now, I also teach. And teaching is quite demanding sometimes. I teach English as a second language here in Budapest, and I will never forget times where I've been in the middle of a class and a student has been speaking or reciting something, and it might seem very disrespectful. An idea has just popped into my head. How do you quickly jot your idea down without being disrespectful to everyone else around you? What I do is, I get a pen, I get a paper. Some people have the very simple notepads or iPads, sort of with the pens as well, that you can scribble on. Whatever your chosen method, whatever helps you get your words down as effectively as possible and your ideas down, just do it, and make sure you always have it with you. You could be in the toilet, in a restaurant, you could be anywhere. Make sure you always have it with you, because these ideas will come at the strangest times, and by the time you realize what's happening, the ideas are so fleeting, they've completely escaped you. And this is the thing with ideas, they come and they go. I had a viewer ask me about one of my previous videos, which was all about how I get character inspiration, and she said, when you see the character, when the character pops into view and they're so striking that you remember who they are, do you write anything down about them? I said, no, I just remember exactly who they are, what they look like. I remember the moment. Everything is completely frozen in time. But for some reason, when it comes to ideas for books or plots for books, my brain does not work the same way. And I think that is because when I see potential characters and I see people who are striking or who remind me of a character, it's a visual representation. I've actually got a visual representation of that person, so I can never forget them. Whilst when you have a plot idea, it's an idea that's come from within, and I think the brain is such a busy organ, it's always just going on to the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. And you do it a disservice by not writing these ideas down as soon as they pop into your head. Now, in terms of writing the ideas down, write down every single idea, because what we tend to do as human beings is we overthink everything. Oh, this idea sounds silly. Oh, I could never do that. Oh, our brains are always trying to protect us. So as human beings, I've seen people overthink. I've seen people, potentially good writers, overthink and talk themselves out of quite interesting plots because they think, oh, it's too silly. Oh, I'm a 50-something-year-old man. I'm a 50-something-year-old woman. I should be writing this instead. Oh, I can't write a story. I can't write a story that's set in this place because I'm not from there. Write the story. Write the plot down. Eventually, you can iron out all the details, all the inaccuracies, that's where editors come in. That's where beta readers come in. That's where all these different facets of in the writing world come in to help you get your book as polished as possible. So write everything down. Learn to write everything down. Don't judge yourself, and you have to learn not to judge your ideas as well. A second and pretty fantastic way for getting ideas down. Now, this is going to be quite controversial. I used to drive a lot when I lived in London. I was always driving to the horses. I was always driving to the countryside. I would spend sometimes about 6 hours a week driving because I loved the countryside. I loved going to see my horse. I had a horse at the time. How did I get ideas down when I was mid-drive? I set my phone up. It might sound terribly silly to some of you. I set my phone up to record and to dictate what I was taking down. You have all these amazing Word applications such as Microsoft Word. You have all these applications that you can dictate to, or you can buy yourself a dictaphone. Either way, I had my phone record what I was about to say, and you can activate the record mechanism just with the voice activation, so you didn't have to take your hand off the steering wheel or do anything controversial. If you want to hear something amazing, I once got about 7,000 words down in one day, just from dictating as I drove. Now, obviously, when I say 7,000 words was the initial number of words that I dictated. But obviously, when I went through it and I had to type it all up, it came to about just over 7,000 words. And I had to polish it, and that makes no sense. This was all garbled nonsense. This wasn't very good, so it came down to about maybe 6,500. But 7,000 words whilst you're driving is great productivity. So if you're trying to get lots of ideas and lots of stories out there, don't be afraid to dictate. Even if you don't like the sound of your voice, you're going to hear it and you alone. I still have recordings on my phones and stored away for my new Heathen series from about 2 years ago that I am still typing up. So I would say dictation and then pen and paper are two very, very effective ways to get plots down, to get words down, to just get as much down as possible. But you have to have a method where you can go back and go through all the work you've written down or recorded and then start to transcribe it or type it up onto your laptop. But you have to be very careful. You have to have one gadget for dictation, and you have to have one notepad that you use, and you have to have a safe space for these things. Because I've actually had issues where I've lost recordings, or I've replaced a phone, or I haven't realized a certain file was a recording and I've deleted it, and boom, 3,000 words of a very intricate plot have gone. Now, when you're dictating and you're in the mood, the words flow a lot easier. My Coat series, book 1, book 2 and book 3 was mostly dictated. the entire 3-book series was mostly dictated, and then I transcribed it all. But you would not know that it was dictated at all, because I typed it all up, read through it, and then sent it off to the editor. Obviously after 1 or 2 drafts. I don't just write it all and send it to my editor. That is very naughty, very bad, and your editor will be not impressed. Unless you're very good at writing first drafts, which a lot of people are not. I would say give it 1 or 2 drafts, or maybe 3, and then you can send it off when you're happy. Those are my tips for recording information and taking information down, especially in this very busy world we live in and in this busy age. So whether you're going to be on the bus, on the metro, depending where you live, or you're being driven in a car and you don't want to be rude, get a notepad and pen, or have a little dictation machine, and always make sure your dictation machine or your dictation method is ready to go and is fully charged. I'm not an Apple user, but I do use Androids, and Android, all you have to do is instruct the phone to start your voice recorder, and it's absolutely amazing. I do hope these tips were of help to you, and I will think of some more, and I will let you know in the next video. Have a lovely day.